Hi, my name is Paul Friesen, and I'm a consultant at Knowledge Tech Consulting here in Vancouver, BC. Today what I'd like to do is walk you through the Windows 8 consumer beta that was released just a few days by Microsoft. What you see on the screen here is the 64-bit version, the startup screen. I'm going to walk you through the major highlights of changes that you're going to expect and go from there. So first off, this is the Metro UI. The Metro UI is effectively optimized for touch interface. There's a couple things you need to know about this, a couple concepts. One, that there's hot corners. And what I mean by hot corners is if I go up to the corner here, I see this menu come up, which is called a Charms, where I can search any of my apps or my settings or my files. If I'm looking for weather, it'll bring it up that way. So being able to share start menu, devices, settings, and things like that. So the concept of hot corners, that side, and of course down here, if I go down to the bottom left corner, I can get to my start menu. If I right click, a lot of what you would originally see in control panel, things like that. There's also the other hot corner is the upper left corner, which is called a snap. And if I put my mouse up there and I click on it, I can click between all of my open apps in one thing. Or if I scroll down, it will show me all of my open apps that I can easily sort of scroll between. So the whole idea that you have hot corners and the ability to navigate that way. Also, the UI is for touch screens, so a lot of the apps that I have, you'll see that go way over to the right here. If I open up my weather one here, one of the most important things from a developer perspective is that you notice that the developers now have access to the whole screen. There's no more windows around it, so they can go right to the edges, right up to the top here and down, as well as they have the ability to scroll right to left. So very much a different user interface. And if you look at the apps, of course, they're all very touch friendly with big icons that way. Of course, there's for all the legacy Windows users out there, you'll have the desktop, and of course, from here we have the classic sort of Windows 7 desktop and the ability to load applications. I have my thing here, some Lync and Office running that run just fine. But one of the changes I did want to show you here is in Explorer. Of course, they've moved to the ribbon now. So in Explorer, instead of file pull down, there's context-sensitive ribbons now for each of the documents, and you'll see the settings changed based on where you're at. One of the other big changes, of course, they've integrated all of the SkyDrive components. So this is all the cloud-based storage. So all of your pictures and documents and things that automatically sync to the cloud. Currently, you do need a Live ID to make this work, and they automatically, so if you log on to another computer, all of your stuff's there, and you can just move between devices and everything's is there. The user experience now for IE10, again, this is IE10, and the number one thing, of course, is that it's very touch friendly. If I click down on the bottom here, I can go between my last sort of used type things. And of course, if I move my mouse to the very top and right click, I can do multi-tab browsing, just like we saw in in all the prior versions of Internet Explorer. If you like more of a traditional type interface, you can open it up in the standard desktop, and of course, if I open up here, it's all what we know and love about Internet Explorer with the standard type interface that way. So it's a little bit of both that way. One of the changes, of course, is the way all these squares that you see are apps, and the apps are available through the App Store. We've seen other OS vendors put this together, and so I can go into these types of things. And it's interesting, if I do click on an app, that I assume that these are pre-approved. So if I click on one here and I install it, in Windows 7 and Vista you had user account controls and the little windows that would pop up and take you to administrator mode. I assume that these are pre-approved because if I hit install, if you watch on the upper right hand corner, it'll install the application in the background and it'll notify me once these applications is installed, and I'll be able to go to it directly here. So it's just installing. We'll go back to that in a second. There it is. So it's installed. So if I click on that, of course, it takes me to this new app. And again, we talk about the whole real estate, that to get the whole screen. There's Snap. I can look through my open applications and easily be able to go through them. There is keyboard controls that if you don't like a mouse, you can do that with either your fingers or keyboard controls as well. So those are the kind of features to start with from a Windows 8 preview. I'll be doing updates as we learn more about this release of the OS, and look forward to your comments and feedback. Thank you very much.